YouTube. Welcome to another exciting episode of Son of a Bitch BBQ. Alright folks, so tonight we got a really exciting show for you. So what we're doing tonight is we're going to do grilled pork chops. And as you see, I've already seasoned them up. So what I use on the pork chops, and I do this about 20 minutes in advance, is I put, because pork chops and white meat will absorb the spice very quickly. So I use Tony Chachere's on some of these, and I use the salt and pepper with garlic seasoning on the others. So with that, I'm going to put these on the grill. I use indirect heat, as you can see by the grill. Red zone is hot. The blue zone, in this case right now, is the portion that I'm going to put the chops on. And so, since my wife actually likes her chops a little bit more cooked than my son and I, we're going to put hers closer to the heat, even though it's still indirect. It's closer to the heat zone, and then we'll put ours over here so they don't cook quite as fast and as much. We'll put them over here. I'll have one more I'll put over here, right here, and then we're going to close this off. So you see the heat's over here, but indirect heating is over here, so this zone is not on the flames. This zone is the heat that'll keep it heated up for us on that side. And what I do is a little bit of kind of interesting way of doing this so that I don't have to worry about getting another piece of aluminum foil, spending all the time going inside, doing all that. I put two layers. The first layer is where I have the chops. After I put the chops on, because that's the raw meat. Now I'm ready to go with my clean portion, so I can put the chops right back on there when they're cooked. Now, you're probably asking, well, why the heck do you have some garlic butter over here for chops? Well, what I'm going to do is, on some of them, I'm going to try this tonight, is we're going to put garlic butter on the chops right about the time I'm ready to sear them over on this side, and that way there I get a little bit of more of a little bit of a crust on it. So we'll try that out tonight. I haven't tried that before. I think it'll work really well. It works great with steaks. So we'll find out here shortly. The other thing I've got here is, and y'all might want to think about this, really easy to do. I use these tomatoes here and I put them on the grill, probably about 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, and these come out really good. You can't go wrong. You don't need to spice them. You don't need to do anything. Stick them on the skewer, throw them on the grill, and it's amazing how good these come out. Great with any kind of meat on the grill. 5 minutes, man, you'll know when they're done. You don't want them overdone and you don't want them charred, but you want them to where they just kind of soften up, and then they're really good. So you're heating them up and they soften up and they're really good. We'll put those on at the end and I'll show you that piece. Other thing that's essential to the grill, of course, is, as you know in each episode, you gotta grill with a beer or you're not grilling. So we'll check. I normally don't open this up very often, but I'll just show you real quick. So you see the grills are going to start, the chops are going to start grilling on this side. You don't have to worry about any flame, heating it up. So you can walk away for probably 15 minutes. In about 10 minutes or so, I'll flip them over. And that way they're starting to cook on this side. Then I'll sear them on that side. I keep this side on high, by the way, because again, you want the grill heated up pretty good because it's indirect heat. But I don't have to worry about the flame charring them at this point. So now it's cooking indirectly. Not worried about burning them. Once they're cooked on this side, for the most part, I'm searing them on this side. And it comes out almost perfect every time. And I'll be honest with you, indirect heating will retain the juices much better than putting them right on the heat to cook them. Because once you put them on the flame, it's sucking out all that juice in this pork chop. So they'll be still juicy, but they'll be cooked. Some folks like their chops, you know, with some pink in them. Some folks like them a little more cooked. My wife's one that likes them cooked all the way through, so they become pure white meat all the way through. But doing it this way, you still got some juice. You put it right on the flame, you get it all the way cooked, and it's going to be dry. Anyways, we'll pause for a minute, let this cook. I'll come back in a minute and I'll show you what this looks like in just a few minutes. All right, well, welcome back. And so now we're about ready to turn the chops over. They've been cooking now for about 15 minutes on this side, indirect heat. So you can tell when they're getting ready to be flipped over. On this side, we won't cook as long on this side when we flip them over, but you can start seeing that they're starting to cook. And you don't want to overcook them now because remember, you're going to put them on the searing zone here in a minute. But so right now, I'm going to flip these over, and we'll let these cook for about another maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes. Because remember, these aren't near as done as this side over here. And because these are closer to the heat, but that's okay. These are the ones that my son and I will eat these, and we don't want them necessarily cooked as much. So we'll let those cook. You can see what they look like. We'll be back in again in about 5-10 minutes, and we'll let you know if we're ready to put them on the searing zone. And this time again, I'm going to try experimenting. I'm going to put some of this, particularly on the ones that don't have the Tony Chachere's, because remember I put Tony Chachere's, which is a really good spice on these chops, salt and pepper on these. I'm going to try it on these and maybe 1 or 2 on the Tony Chachere's to see if we can develop a crust on pork chops like we do steak. Anyways, we'll be back. I'm going to close the lid and let it keep cooking, and then we'll put our tomatoes on here shortly too. And so we'll be back. Give us a few minutes and we'll come back. All right, folks, here we go. We're back in the grill zone, and now for the most exciting part of this, we're getting ready to put it on the sear zone. So as I said earlier, we're going to try something different. I do this with steaks and it works really awesome. I have no idea what's going to happen here with these chops, but I'm going to try to build a little bit of a crust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this garlic butter spread on top of the chops, and then I'm going to stick it on the sear zone because these are basically cooked. Now what I'm trying to do is just get a little bit of crust on it. So we indirectly cook these in the heat, so that way there we don't have to worry about burning the chops. But now you don't want them to come into the final stage of this thing pale, so we want to get some color and some crispness to them. So we're going to put that on there. So I got those ready to go. I'll put them on the sear zone in just a second. So right now I'm also going to go ahead and start heating these up. So actually I'm going to put these up here for right now and let those start getting heated up. Like I said, those don't take that long. So I'm going to start with these 2 chops here, and I'll put them in the grill zone. And we're going to start, then you'll start seeing some flames coming up, and that'll get a nice sear on that. I'm going to do some more over here, get those started. You can start seeing the smoke. We'll try this one here. Let's see how this one does. I don't think it could hurt. There's no way garlic butter could hurt anything. And we'll get this one going. Let's see how this one does. Get it back here. Get a flame going back there. Let these things cook. You see now you want some heat. Now it's a heat zone. Put this baby on here, this puppy on here. These going. Get this one going. This one, well, I'll leave that in a second. We don't want to go too far back there. This one here. This one here, you can see that flame starting to come up. Don't burn yourself. Let's move this one back. Some butter on this one. Look at that, look at that. How could you go wrong with garlic butter? Alright. Put this baby over here. Alright, so now we're going to let those go for a few minutes, let those sear. I'm going to run in real quick and get a little more garlic butter. So I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm going to get some more garlic butter so I can put it on this side, and then I'll flip it over and cook on there for just a second. So I'll be right back, and we'll let those go. Okay. You ready to come back up? Alright, so here we go, folks. Got a little more garlic butter. I'm going to flip these over, and actually I'm going to now move these down here a little bit. I want these to get a little bit of indirect heat here. And now, all right, so let's check these out. So I did these first. Let's look at them. Look at that beautiful crust. Look at that crust, sizzle crust there. Okay. Now, I don't want to overcook these chops, so I got to be careful because this is high heat now. So I'm going to garlic butter these real quick. Now flip them over and finish up the process. So put a little bit of this. Now this isn't melted because I didn't put these on ahead of time. So we're going to see what we can do to get some on here. Let it start melting on there with that heat. Get some of these here. I'll spread it out in a minute. We'll let the heat melt it for us. Put this on here. This enough for one. We don't get enough for this one. Oh, by the way, the garlic butter I use comes from Costco. And it's actually called Chef Chamois garlic butter. Awesome stuff, folks. Awesome stuff. Near the refrigerator section at Costco, by the way. And see, look at that. So now it's spreading out really well. Get that little bit of a spread there. Give that a second. And I'm about to flip these babies over. So this one's ready to go. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful. Flip this baby over. Don't want to overdo it. Flip this baby over. This baby over. Now, I'm only going to do this for a few minutes because these are really about to be cooked. Flip that baby over and let it go a minute. These are about done. You can see them starting to soften up. When they start weeping out, that's when you're done. We're about there. We're going to let these go a minute or two. Just get a little bit of grilled char on it and then we're ready to go.